You guys want to give it a shot? It's a couple minutes. If you get 3 very easy questions, multiple choice.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, perfect. All right, cool. So the first one's the hardest, but then they get easier.
Okay.
All right. So.
I'm highly nervous because it's common sense, and so already I'm like, oh crap.
Yeah, I mean, if you trust your common sense, you'll get at least 2 of 3. You see, 99% of people do, believe it or not.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. So I have 2 images here, and the reason I call them images is because one of them's a photograph and one of them's a painting. So I want to see if people could tell the difference between the photograph and the painting.
I'm gonna say that's the painting.
Okay.
That's the photograph.
I would say that's a painting and that's a photograph.
I think
so
this is
that-
a painting and a photograph.
Okay. It was actually a trick question. They're both
Because neither
paintings.
one of-
I
They're
knew
both
you were gonna-
paintings. Yeah, so this is an oil painting and this is a digital
Damn.
painting done on an iPad. This is actually a video online of a time lapse doing this one.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
So yeah, I don't expect people to get this one because it's obviously impossible to tell. It's
exactly.
impossible. So there is 2 reasons why I asked this question though, because the first reason is just believing someone opens the door to being deceived, right? Because you believe me that one's a photograph, that influences your choice.
Okay.
So it's not good to just believe people on their word. You know what I'm
Gotcha,
saying?
yeah.
The second
Absolutely.
reason I asked this question is if you want to determine something is real, an image is not good enough, because if I showed you an image of me walking on water or me flying,
Does
would
that
you
mean that he's walking on water?
no, because that defies physics, right? That's
man.
obvious, right?
Yeah.
So these next 2 questions actually have to do with physics, elementary physics actually. They actually have to do with water. Water, could we agree once water is contained like in a bottle like this, right? Water always seeks the lowest point. It always goes to the bottom of the bottle. Because I could turn the bottle upside down, water always seeks the lowest point. That's what water does, right? Since we understand that simple fact about water, I took 2 different images, one right side up and one upside down. And I want to see if you guys could tell which one of these 2 is upside down. I painted the water blue with food coloring to make it easier.
Yeah.
So if we understand water always goes down, which one of these 2 is upside down? How I'm showing you.
Is that one? Upside down?
Upside down,
That's
upside down. Okay, there you go. This one's right side up.
Yeah.
This one's upside down,
Yeah.
obviously, because the water can't stick to the top
Yeah.
of the bottle. You got it. Yeah, you got
Alright, I
it.
was like,
Perfect.
wait a minute.
So another thing about water, have you heard of water finding its level? Water always finds its level.
You mean like a flat? It's gonna
Yeah, there you go.
So it's
Exactly.
gonna be flat,
So
yeah.
another word for level, it could be flat or
Okay.
horizontal is actually the proper definition for level.
Okay.
Horizontal, right?
Horizontal,
Yeah. So if we were actually go out and measure the I guess the levelness of water, since we understand it's horizontal, it always evens out. That's what water. Which one of these 2 is correct? A or B? When we're looking at the water, when we're measuring the surface of water level, once it's contained. There you go.
okay.
You guys agree with her?
Well, what am I
Are we
looking
talking about
at?
the ocean or just regular water?
Just water,
Okay,
like
yeah.
like a giant lake, for example.
Well, we would say this one because it's straight.
Yeah, it's straight.
Yeah, it's obvious, right?
Yeah.
So the real reason I do this is because over 95% of the population actually were tricked, including myself and maybe you guys, to believing that this is the answer, even though we know it's this one. You guys want to know how we were tricked? Do you guys believe the Earth is a ball?
Yeah, that's why I started to say that, but then.
Okay,
then,
okay.
yeah,
No,
that's-
so
yeah.
so NASA in specific, they claim to have satellites orbiting the Earth, right? So they need to know the radius of orbit. So they need to know the radius of the Earth. So they do tell us the radius of the Earth. It's 3,959 miles. So if we multiply that times 2, we get the diameter, and then we multiply that times pi, we get the circumference. So the circumference of the Earth is 24,901 miles. That's what they're telling us.
Yeah.
So there needs to be curvature every mile, and every mile it increases because it's not a pyramid, it's a sphere. So in the first mile, there's an 8-inch drop. Second mile, there's a 32-inch drop. By the third mile, there should be a 6-foot drop. So if we were to actually go out to a lake that was miles across and build a level structure over that lake, that water should be bending by 6 feet in 3 miles.
Every 3 miles, okay.
So if we start at 5 feet, that gap should increase to 11 feet in 3 miles. In other words, that water should be bending away from the structure. But in reality, we understand.
In theory, but we
in
know
theory,
that water doesn't work like that.
exactly. So this is the #1 experiment to debunk the globe.
Okay.
So have you guys heard of people that don't believe in the ball Earth or
Yeah,
flat Earth?
the
Right.
flat
I
Earth,
try to stay away from that word because there's a lot of ridicule going on.
trigger.
Yeah.
It's a trigger word. Yo, you're pretty familiar with this. That's
Oh, yeah.
actually pretty good. So if I was to ask you guys, what's the #1 proof or thing that convinces you that the Earth is a sphere? I mean, it's if you know, it's okay to be honest.
Yeah,
If-
no, that's a very good question. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
actually
also
very
only
honest.
going
Very honest.
based
Yeah,
on what they tell me. I don't know.
exactly,
I've
yeah.
never been to space.
Exactly.
exactly.
So, one of the main proofs people use is images from space, right?
Yeah.
The
Oh,
pictures
yeah.
they show. So, I don't know if you guys knew, NASA and all the other space agencies, they don't call them photographs. They actually call them images. And the reason they call them images is because they're Photoshop. So, they call them composites.
Because they can be manipulated.
Exactly. In other words, if an image defies physics, then we have to throw that image away. Because if they're showing us an image of water bending, then we understand, especially if they're not real photographs and they admit it, then it's obvious to throw that image out the window and we go with what we know, right? So this is the #1 experience to debunk the globe. And Have you guys, just real quick, the horizon, right?
Yeah.
How would you describe the horizon?
I'm not sure what the question.
Horizontal.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's exactly where the word horizon comes from, horizontal.
Yeah.
So another thing is,
Oh, yeah.
the only way you're ever gonna see curvature of the Earth is through GoPro cameras. So you know the fisheye lens,
exactly.
it curves horizontal lines, right?
exactly.
So the only place curvature exists of the Earth is through a GoPro or CGI video or images. So cartoons, basically kind of Hollywood trickery, basically
Yeah.
CGI. So NASA, in my opinion, is Disney for adults because they don't show anything real. They just show CGI and again camera effects, basically to trick the population. You know? So how long ago did you guys hear about this topic about flat Earth?
Oh gosh, a long time ago.
2-3 years ago maybe.
Oh, right,
Couple
right.
of trips down the rabbit hole.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I actually came across this in 2016 when it exploded on the internet around that time.
I heard it was through a college, right, or something like that. Like it was a college discussion that was supposedly an
Supposedly.
idea. Yeah.
So there's actually I came across a guy. His name was Eric Dubay,
Yeah.
and he was one of the first guy that I watched, and he's the one that kind of introduced the subject to me. Obviously through a video. I don't know him personally, but it made perfect sense to me. So I just went down that rabbit hole, and bam, I just couldn't believe what I found. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's crazy.
So I don't know if you guys heard of Euclidean plane geometry.
No.
So it's the geometry that's used to basically construct everything that we see. Basically, like bridges that are miles across. So they assume that the Earth is a plane. That's where Euclidean plane geometry comes in. So spherical geometry is not used to construct long distances, roads, bridges, railroads. It's all done on the assumption that the Earth is level.
Okay.
So they don't take account for curvature. This 8 miles per square inch, they don't take account for that. So it doesn't exist. It only exists on paper as a cartoon, like I said, images, or through mathematical equations, But in reality, level means horizontal, and that's what we construct from the baseline, right? Do you guys have any questions?
No, man.
No?
This is a conversation did not expect to have.
No, I know. That's why.
Like, wait a minute, hold on.
So I'm actually out here because this information is actually being censored online since like 2019, and the way they're censoring is they're not removing this information from the internet because it's too obvious. You know what I'm saying? If they did that, so what they're doing is they're demoting any real information. So anyone speaking like me on the internet, you're never gonna come across them if you just search general terms.
Especially not on Google.
Yeah, exactly. So Google, YouTube's owned by Google, so it's all all the algorithms are controlled right now. So you're gonna get nothing but ridiculing and dismissing. Basically, all these experts are not even taking it serious, basically to play on people's fucking emotions and you know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm out here, just to give it to people straight. And I actually do have some links if you guys want to take home so you can cross-reference, because it is being censored, it's very hard to come across these links.
Yeah, exactly.
And here,
Take a picture of them.
oh, sure. Here.
He's probably got a good.
Yeah, I got a few, yeah. So since you guys are together, I'll give you guys one. So those are the 6 main proofs that debunk the globe. There's hundreds. Everything proves that the Earth is not a ball.
So you're going with that it is a ball or it's not a ball?
It's not a ball. The Earth is a level plane. The thing is, nobody knows the dimensions of the Earth. That's unknown.
So the thing about it, then why would it be such a thing for it to be the flat Earth? It's just because they're lying to us?
Yeah, so they're lying to us basically to warp our common sense so that we just do whatever we're told by these so-called experts, but in reality they don't even know.
Exactly.
They're just making shit up. Nobody truly knows the nature of this place. But one thing I will tell you, this place was created. I'm not biblical, I don't follow any religion. I think all religions are there to control people. And the heliocentric model, the ball earth government, I think that's the number one religion. Because everybody, doesn't matter if you're Muslim, doesn't matter if you're Christian, you believe in the ball earth. You believe in the Big Bang and evolution. You have to believe in it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So all of that is just bullshit, basically. So, I'm just here spreading awareness about that fact that I found out 6 years ago, and it completely changed my perspective on life. Like literally, man. Literally, I literally have to make free time from work, from my occupation, because occupation there, jobs are just there to keep you occupied. They're just there to distract us, believe it or not. It's literally called an occupation for a reason, just to keep you occupied. So I have to make time, to come out and do this, but I'm hoping that more people that know this actually come out and do some, research, and not only that, but people that already know, they should come out and do what I'm doing. Spread this information, because if it just stays on the internet, it's not gonna go nowhere. It's not. I mean, it hasn't gone nowhere in 3 years, since 2019, 4 years going now. You know what I'm saying? So I think giving it to people straight, it's the best thing to do right now, especially with all the censoring online, all this cancel culture going on. It's fucking ridiculous. It's everywhere, exactly. So this is probably like the number one subject that people will get canceled for, especially like celebrities, and some celebrities have spoken about this, but they automatically just don't talk about it no more. And you gotta ask yourself why. You know what I'm saying? Okay, here, let me give you a card. You guys can check out my channel. Here, I have one right here. And I go to universities too. Okay. So I talk to the students, and yeah. All right, man. Thank you. Thanks for stopping. Yeah, so everyone. You guys want to give it a shot? Huh? You want to give it a shot? I have 3 very easy questions, multiple choice,
Let's see.
elementary level.
Okay, go.
All right, cool. So the first one's the hardest, but then they get easier. All right, I promise. So,
Hold on. I got
real quick, okay. So I have 2 images here, and the reason I call them images is because one of them's a photograph and one of them's a painting. So I want to see if people could tell the difference between the photograph and the painting.
That's a photograph. That's a painting.
I think it's the other way. This is the painting.
That's the painting,
This
that's
is
the photograph.
Yeah, this is the photograph. That's the painting.
Okay, all right. It was actually a trick question. They're both paintings.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is an oil painting and this is a digital painting done on an iPad. So I don't expect people to get this one, obviously, because it's impossible to tell. You know, these are too realistic. So there is 2 reasons why I asked this question, though. So the first reason is just believing someone opens the door to being deceived, right? Because you believe me that one's a photograph, that influences your choice, right? So it's not good to just believe someone, you know, just on their word, right? So the second reason is if we want to determine something is real, an image is not good enough. Because if I showed you an image of me walking on water or me flying, would you believe I could walk on water or fly? No, right? Because that defies physics. That's impossible, right? So these next 2 questions have to do with elementary physics. Very easy. So it has to do with water. So could we agree once water is contained like in a bottle like this, right? It always seeks its lowest point. You know, in other words, it always goes to the bottom because no matter what orientation, I could turn it upside down, water always goes to the bottom. That's obvious, right? It's common sense. So since we understand that simple fact about water that always goes to the bottom, you know, I took 2 images and I painted the water blue with food coloring to make it easier. So how I'm showing them to you, which one of these 2 is upside down? Since we understand water always goes down, which one is upside down? Okay.
Let's say this one.
Actually, yeah. It seems like a trick question.
You actually got it right the first time.
It's this one.
That one.
Yeah, you got it right the first time.
this
He
one.
kind of influenced your choice after he picked
Well,
this.
yeah, because you think about it, it's
Exactly.
at the top of the lid.
Exactly.
right?
The
So
water can't stick to the top of the bottle. So I
Yeah.
took this one upside down
Yeah.
like that. So you guys got it. Perfect.
Yeah.
So this last one's even easier. So another thing about water, have you guys ever heard of water level or water finds its level? Right?
Yeah.
Right? What would be another word for level?
Like straight.
Even,
Even.
horizontal. Horizontal is actually the proper definition of level. So since we understand that fact about water as well, that always finds its level once it's contained, which one of these 2, okay, where is it at? Okay, which one of these 2 is correct when it comes to water level? A or B? Look at the water. Which one represents level correctly? There you go.
Straight.
Yeah,
Straight, yeah.
perfect. Yeah, you guys got it. So the real reason I do this is because over 95% of the population, including myself and maybe even you guys, have been tricked to believing that this is the answer, even though we know it's this one. You guys want to know how we were tricked?
What?
Do you guys believe the Earth is a ball?
I do.
Right?
I believe it's round.
Yeah. So NASA in specific, they claim to have satellites orbiting the Earth, right? So they need to know the radius of orbit. So anything with a radius has to have has to be a circle or sphere. So they do tell us that the radius of the Earth is 3,959 miles, which then gives us 8 miles per square inch. So there has to be curvature every mile. So the first mile there's an 8-inch drop. Second mile there's a 32-inch drop. By the third mile there should be 6 feet of curvature. So if we actually build a level structure over a giant lake that was miles across,
It's eventually going to curve.
that it should, if that's what they're telling us. But in reality, that water is going to be parallel to that structure. And that's what level means. It's even 5 feet
Because
all
the
across
water's
the
always dropping.
No, that's what they're telling us. So they're
Oh.
telling us that the lakes, every lake on Earth is curving at 6 feet at 3 miles. So that gap should increase by 5 feet to 11 feet in 3 miles if the water's truly bending. But we understand water doesn't bend. Once water seeks its level, like this pond, it's perfectly straight.
Yeah.
So this will be the #1 experiment to debunk the globe if we actually went out to measure for this curvature. You know, because the oceans are actually level. Have you heard of the term sea level?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how we measure height and depth.
When we're above
You know,
it.
and we do it from a datum line, a baseline, which has to be horizontal. So this will be the #1 experiment to debunk the globe. So if I was to ask you, what's the #1 proof that convinces you that the Earth is a ball? Or what's the #1 thing that makes you believe that?
That's what they say.
Exactly. That's actually pretty honest. You know, a lot of people would say, "Oh, photographs from space," right?
That's just what they say.
Yeah, but I don't know if you guys knew, they actually don't call them photographs. They call them images, and because they're photoshopped, but they call them composites. They don't use the word Photoshop. They call them composites. But
Okay.
that's just a fancy word for Photoshop. So no real image of the Earth from space it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
They're all cartoons. Every space agency, European Space Agency, the Japanese, you know, everybody is basically showing CGI cartoons. So in my opinion, NASA is Disney for adults.
Okay.
Basically, yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. So do you guys have any questions about
No,
this
you
topic?
pretty much said it all yourself.
Yeah.
I was wondering.
So I do have some information because this information is being censored, which is one of the main reasons why I'm out here talking to people.
Okay. Oh, you want water? Okay, I'll get you water
Why
right
did
now.
you figure
So-
it out?
Here you go. These are the 6 main proofs to debunk the globe. And if you have any questions about them, you know, you can let me know. And here's my card. I have a YouTube channel and I go to universities as well.
Yeah.
You could check out some of my conversations there.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, check it out, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for
Appreciate it.
talking to me, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, you guys have a good one. My sir, so good.
Trust your common sense, yes, sir.
You want to give it a shot? Want to prove that?
What do you mean?
I have three very easy questions, multiple choice. All right, elementary level. All right. So I have 2 images here, and the reason I call them images, one of them is a photograph.
Morgan Freeman, and I don't know.
Yeah.
What that is.
One of them is a painting, one of them is a photograph.
Okay.
Can you tell the difference?
Yeah, a little bit. Let me see. Yeah.
Which one's a photograph and which one's a painting?
This one, definitely a painting. This one's a photograph.
Oh, okay. That was actually a trick question. They're both paintings.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. That's like HD type.
Yeah, I don't expect people to get this one because it's too realistic, man. But there is 2 reasons why I asked this question, though. The first reason is just believing someone opens the door to being deceived, right? That's obvious because you believe me, that influences your choice. The second reason, if we want to determine something is real, an image is not good enough, right? Because if I showed you an image of me walking on water or me flying, would you believe I could do those things?
Shit, I would believe that it's photo imagery.
Yeah,
like
it's fake.
CGI,
Exactly. Yeah, there you go. You got it. So these next 2 are very easy. They have to do with water, elementary physics. So once water is contained like in a bottle, could we agree that it always seeks its lowest point? In other words, it always goes to the bottom because I could turn the bottle upside down and water always goes to the bottom. Always. Doesn't matter what direction. Water always knows to go down. So since we understand that simple fact about water, that it always goes down, I painted the water blue to make it easier with food coloring. How I'm showing them to you, which one of these 2 is upside down? Since we understand water always goes down.
I mean, I want to say this one.
There you go.
It's at the top, and this one's at the bottom with the liquid, and it's not halfway empty, or it's not
halfway full.
So if you turn this one upside down, it'll be the same imagery as this one.
Exactly. So this one's the upside down one. You got it, man. You got it.
Yeah.
yeah. I took this one upside down like that.
Plus, you
There
can
you
tell
go.
by the labeling, obviously.
Yeah. But the water will be our reference
Right,
point,
it'll
though.
be the
Water.
reference
Water. So perfect. Have you ever heard of water finding its level? So, water, for example, how would we describe the surface of the water? Right? Could we say it's level? Right? Flat. There you go. Could we horizontal will be the proper term. Water always finds its level. In other words, it always forms horizontal once contained. You know, since we understand that simple fact about water, which one of these 2 is correct when we're looking at water level? Which one represents level? A or B? When we're looking at the water.
Honestly, I wanna say B because it's curved and it's, but this one is straight.
So which one's level? Which one's horizontal?
Definitely this one.
Yeah,
is
it's obvious, right?
horizontal,
Yeah,
and
it's
this
obvious.
one is-
Yeah. So the real reason I do this is because over 95% of the population were tricked to believing that this is what level means, even though we know it's this one.
this one.
You want to know how we were tricked? Do you believe the Earth is a ball?
A ball, I
Or a
believe
sphere?
the Earth is, it's not flat, it's round.
So you think it's a sphere, like a ball?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, so NASA in specific, they actually claim to have satellites orbiting the Earth. So they need to know the radius of orbit. So they need to know the radius of the Earth. So they do tell us the radius of the Earth is 3,959 miles. So that means there needs to be curvature every mile. So the first mile, there should be an 8-inch drop. Second mile, there should be a 32-inch drop. By the third mile, there should be 6 feet of curvature.
So what is this, like chemistry, biology?
This is geometry. Geometry, yeah, measurement of the Earth. So if we actually went out and measured for this curvature, like a giant lake that was miles across, and we build a level structure over that lake, that water should be bending 6 feet in 3 miles. So in the first mile, it should be 5 feet, and by the third mile, there should be 11 feet, the gap. So that water should be bending away. But in reality, we understand water always finds its level, like this pond, horizontal. Exactly. So this will be the number 1 experiment to debunk the globe, in my opinion. So have you heard of people that don't believe in the ball Earth, or have you heard of flat Earth? Right? Have you heard of? I try to stay away from that word because there's a lot of ridicule going on right now on the internet. So that's why I'm out here, because it's being censored, and that's how they're doing it. They're ridiculing it, dismissing it, so nobody takes it serious. But if I was to ask you though, what's the number 1 proof that convinces you or makes you believe that the Earth is a ball?
Because look around you, I could just like,
So because you think we could be, so I would say, so you think the horizon is the curvature of the Earth? You think that's where the, so right now we can't see the horizon, but I actually do have an image here of the horizon. So these images were taken 20 miles in the sky without a GoPro lens. I don't know if you knew, fisheye lens, curves. Yeah, so the only place you're ever gonna see curvature of the Earth is through a GoPro camera or through CGI. But if we use a standard GoPro, no matter what height, the horizon's always horizontal.
that's fucking beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It's actually pretty beautiful. These are the clouds. This is, it's always horizontal. So do you have any questions about this topic that you may?
I already kind of picked up on
A little bit here and there. Yeah. So
I just needed to know the geometry. And
there we go.
physics and
There we go. I actually do have some links that you could go out and check out on your own if you want.
got, like, Instagram.
Actually, I have a YouTube. You have YouTube.
I'm gonna subscribe to you.
Okay, perfect. So here's, let me give you this flyer. These are the 6 main proofs that debunk the globe. You could check that out, and there's some links there. But here's my YouTube.
Bet.
Here, you could take this card. It's the first one on there. William and Natalie. Yeah.
I got you, level-headed William
And Natalie. That's it. Yeah.
William on the level beyond the image.
That's my
card.
backup channel.
Okay.
And then those are some of my favorite
Touch
channels.
Puppy, Eric, Dubé. I got you,
Yeah.
bro. I'm gonna shout you out.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you. Hey, thanks for talking to me, by the way.
And you gonna record this on YouTube?
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I
All
got
right, man.
you.
Thanks for talking to me, man. Have a good one. All right.
I trust my common sense.
Oh, that's good. You guys want to give it a shot?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So it's 3 very easy questions. They're multiple choice.
Okay.
So and see if you could get at least 2 of 3.
Okay.
Over 99% of people actually do get it right. So you guys will be good. So the first one's the hardest one, but then they get easier. Okay.
Okay.
So this one, I have 2 images here, and the reason I call them images is because one of them's a photograph and one of them's a painting. So I want to see if people could tell the difference between the photograph and the painting.
I think that's the painting, that's the photograph.
Okay.
I think this one is the painting.
Okay.
This one is this one's the painting and this one's the real one.
Photograph. Okay. What about you?
I would say this is a painting and that's a photograph.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the painting.
Okay. You guys were close, but it's actually a trick question. They're both paintings.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're both paintings. So I don't expect people to get this one, obviously, because it's
that's-
impossible. I couldn't even
That's
get
what
it.
I'm recognizing. It's like, are those both paintings?
Yeah, some people say they're both photographs, which is still a fine response, but there is 2 reasons why I asked this question. The first reason is just believing someone opens the door to being deceived, right? Because you believe me that one's a photograph, that influences your choice, right? So it's not good to just believe someone, in my point, especially when it comes to determining something is real. And the second reason is if we want to determine something is real, an image is not good enough, because if I showed you an image of me walking on water or me flying, would you guys believe I could do those things? No, right? That's obvious, right? So these next 2 questions actually are elementary level. They have to do with water, So could we agree once water is contained like in a bottle like this, it always goes to the lowest point. In other words, it always goes to the bottom, water. Because I could turn the bottle upside down, but water always goes to the bottom. Even if I turn it sideways, doesn't matter, water always goes down. That's a fact. So since we understand that simple fact about water, I actually painted the water blue in this one to make it easier.
Victoria?
Oh, she's behind me. Okay, so real quick, how I'm showing them to you, since we understand water always goes down, which one of these 2 is actually upside down? Which one's upside down? Hey! Do you guys agree with him?
I did.
Yeah, okay,
So I
that's
feel
good.
like both of them were upside down.
No, because water always goes down,
Yeah.
so which one's upside
What
down?
if this just had clear water though?
No. The water is definitely blue.
That
Yeah, the
one-
water is
okay,
definitely
okay,
blue.
okay.
Okay, so yeah, this one.
Yeah.
This one.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, you guys got it. Perfect. Yeah, because obviously the water can't stick to the top. I actually took this one upside down like that. So you guys got it. Perfect. So this last one, it's actually even easier. Another thing about water is, have you ever heard of water always finds its level? Right? What would be another word for level if we had to use a different word? Even. Horizontal is actually the proper definition of level. So water always, always horizontal. So since we understand that other fact about water, and it always finds its level, which one of these 2 represents level correctly? A or B? Which one?
What do you think?
When we're looking at the water,
What do you think?
which one represents level?
Like which one's
Yeah, there you go. Which one's flat? Which one's horizontal?
the water?
Which one of the water is horizontal?
That's
The one that's
motion.
flat.
Which one's straight? The water. The blue.
Yeah, there you
What
go.
about you, Johnny? What do you think is flat? The water. Look at them both carefully. Make the decision. Sure.
Yeah. You guys got it's this one, right? It's obvious. This is what level means. So the real reason I do this is because over 95% of the population, including myself and maybe you guys, have been tricked to believing that this is what level means, even though we know it's this. You guys want to know how we were tricked? Do you guys believe the Earth is a ball?
Yeah.
Right? So we were told.
That's what we're told.
Yeah, exactly. So NASA in specific, they claim to have satellites orbiting the Earth. So they need to know the radius of orbit. So they need to know the radius of the Earth if they supposedly have satellites. So they do tell us that the radius of the Earth is 3,959 miles, which means there has to be curvature at every mile. So the first mile is an 8-inch drop, second mile 32 inches, and by the third mile it should be a 6-foot drop. So it increases every mile because it's not a pyramid. They're telling us it's a sphere. So if we actually went out in nature, like a giant lake that was miles across, to actually measure for this curvature and build a level structure over it, we understand that that water is going to be parallel to that structure because that's what level means. That's what water does. But this is what they're telling us it's supposedly doing, but it's not. So this will be the #1 experiment to debunk the globe. You know what I'm saying? A physical measurement of the Earth, basically. So have you guys heard of this topic before, right? Yeah? Flat Earth, right? You guys heard of flat Earth. I try to stay away from that word right now because there's so much ridicule going on the internet, and that's one of the main reasons how they're censoring this. So they're not removing a bunch of information. They're just ridiculing it, dismissing it. They just have all these experts just making fun of it, so nobody takes it serious like this. And you'll never hear anyone in the mainstream talking about this physical measurement. They always talk about visual measurements, but perspective, you know, it's a different geometry how we see the world, you know. So that's just, again, if it's truly there, if we could see the curvature, then we should be able to measure it.
Yeah.
That's a simple fact, you know, that's obvious. So if I was to ask you guys, what's the #1 proof or reason that makes you believe that the Earth is a ball?
Well, because we've always been told that.
Yeah, that's actually pretty honest. Yeah, I just believed it too because I was told it, you know. That's what they get us when we're 5 years old in school. That's the first thing they tell us. So that's pretty honest. So just before you guys go real quick, the horizon, this is images of the horizon from 20 miles in the sky. How would you guys describe the horizon? Geometrically, like, yeah, horizontal, right? That's literally where the word horizon comes from the word horizontal. So, in other words, another thing about the horizon is no matter how high we rise, the horizon rises with you. Because if they're telling us that the horizon is the curvature of the Earth, when we rise up, that curvature, we should start looking down at it, and, you know, because it's curving down. You know, but the horizon always rises with you because it's just, you're just looking further in front of you. You're increasing your angle of view and you just see further in front of you. So the horizon is the limit of our perspective, is the limit of our eyesight.
We were already kind of wondering about
Yeah,
that. That's
so
interesting.
so the boat's going over the curve, right? Again, if it's truly going over a curve, we should, one, be able to measure it, and second, we shouldn't be able to zoom into them back. You know, with a camera you could zoom into them. So that's basically faulty. Just, oh, boats go over the horizon. Okay, they're going out of my field of view. That's all they're doing. They're not going to. Exactly. We have a limit to our
Now
field
you're
of
gonna
view.
make us think it's
Yeah.
more
So here, let me give you some information home real quick that you could take because it is being censored online. So if you go on Google, YouTube, the algorithms, you're just gonna get ridiculed. So you could use these. Yeah, you could use these to cross-reference.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then check out my YouTube channel. I go to universities as well, so I challenge the students with this. Yeah, my channel's the first one on there. And yeah, you could check it out.
Thank you.
Yeah,
very
appreciate it.
much.
No
I
problem.
appreciate that.
Thank you. You guys have a good one.
You gave us something to do tonight.
Yeah, thank you. You guys have a good one. Thanks for talking. Yeah. Want to give it a shot? It's 3 very easy multiple choice, elementary level. Want to see if you could get them? All right, cool. So the first one's the hardest one, but then they get easier. All right. So I have 2 images here, and the reason I call them images is because one of them's a photograph and one of them's a painting. So I want to see if people can tell the difference. Which one's a photograph and which one's a painting?
That's the photograph.
Okay, which should be Same? All right. It was actually a trick question. They're both paintings. Yeah, they're both. This is an oil painting, and this is a digital painting done on an iPad. Yeah, they're really realistic, right? So I don't expect people to get this one. Obviously, I couldn't even get it. But there is 2 reasons why I asked this question. Is the first reason is just believing someone opens the door to being deceived, right? Because you believe me that one's a photograph, that influences your choice. So it's not good to just believe someone, you know. So the second reason is if you want to determine something is real, an image is not good enough. Because if I showed you an image of me walking on water or me flying, would you believe I could do those things?
Like, I mean, people could fly now.
No, I mean just with without any equipment, just me flying like Superman. No, right? You won't believe that. It's obvious, right? So these next 2 questions actually have to do with elementary physics, you know, with water actually. So can we agree once water is contained, like in a bottle like this, water always seeks its lowest point? In other words, it always goes to the bottom. Because if I turn the bottle upside down, water always goes to the bottom. No matter what direction the bottle's in, water always goes to the bottom. That's obvious. Since we understand that simple fact about water, and I use blue food coloring to make it easier, so how I'm showing you guys these pictures, which one of these two is upside down? Since we understand water always goes down, which one is upside down? There you go, you got it, perfect. Yeah, you agree with that, that's obvious, because there you go, that's how I took it. Because water can't stick to the top of the bottle. Perfect. So this last one is even easier. Have you heard of the term water finding its level? Water always finds its level?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? What would be another word for level? If we had to use a different word. Could we say even or horizontal? Yeah, horizontal. That's the obvious one, right? Yeah. So since we understand that simple fact about water as well, that it always finds its level, which means horizontal, which one of these two is correct? A or B when we're looking at the water? There you go. Perfect. Yeah, obviously, right? So the real reason I'm doing this is because over 95% of the population, including myself and maybe you guys, have been tricked to believing that this is the answer, even though we know it's this one. You want to know how we were tricked? Do you believe the Earth is a ball?
That's still hard to say.
Okay, so you're open to that? Yeah.
Before they said it was square.
Okay.
They said it was round.
Well, a cube or square, you know, I'm talking about like they're saying it's a ball, like, you know what I'm saying? Like a baseball, basketball, right? So NASA in specific, they're the main ones. They claim to have satellites orbiting the Earth, so they need to know the radius of orbit. So they need to know the radius of the Earth. So they do tell us the radius is 3,959 miles, which means there has to be curvature every mile. So the first mile there's an 8-inch drop, second mile there's a 32-inch drop. By the third mile, there should be a 6-foot drop. So if we actually went out in nature to measure for this curvature, build a level structure over a giant lake that was miles across, that water should be bending 6 feet in 3 miles. But we understand water always finds its level once it's contained, you know, like this. Doesn't matter the size, right? So this will be the #1 experiment to debunk the globe, basically, you know, physically measuring for this curvature, because it actually doesn't exist. So if I was to ask you, well, since you're already open to the idea, what's one thing that kind of has you, you know, in the middle, I guess you would say? What's the #1 proof that or thing that makes you a little bit skeptical, I guess?
Just everything, because I mean, now they're saying there was no aliens. I believe there's aliens.
Well, here's the thing, though. If the Earth is not a ball, outer space, I don't know if you knew, outer space is just a concept. Yeah. And a concept means it's just an idea. Someone's making it all up. So the highest human beings I've ever gone in height is actually 20 miles. So here, let me show you a quick image of what 20 miles looks like. So these are amateur balloons that people send up, giant helium balloons, and these take images of the Earth without a GoPro. I don't know if you knew, GoPros with the fisheye lens, they curve horizontal lines, right? So I have an image like this, like this one. It curves horizontal line, but without a GoPro lens, it's always horizontal, the horizon. Yeah. So NASA, in my opinion, they're just, because they don't show us anything real. They just show the only place you see
what they want to show us.
Exactly. So they show us CGI cartoons and camera effects. So NASA is just Disney for adults, basically. So it's just cartoons for adults, because that doesn't exist. So basically, this experiment would debunk the globe. You know. But do you have any questions about this subject? Have you guys heard about flat Earth? Have you heard of people that don't believe in the globe?
No, not yet.
You haven't heard about it? Okay, so I came across this in 2016, this information, and it's being censored online now since like 2019. So that's why I'm out here trying to talk to people, because if you go online, try to search genuine information, you're not going to find it. Because
take it off.
Exactly. They control the algorithms. They control what they want you to see. Like
cops can't control shit no more, because everybody has phones and they can...
Exactly. You can record them and everything. Yeah.
That's why now a lot of people, they'll go around fucking recording cops, those auditors recording the cops.
Believe it or not, I've been arrested already for doing what I'm doing right now.
For real?
Yeah, I've been arrested. Yeah, so they took both my cameras. It actually happened in December. They took both my cameras like this, and they arrested me just for talking. I haven't. I have court in March, so next month. Just for doing this.
You're in public.
Exactly. I was actually next to an Apple store in Victoria Gardens, and I've been there multiple times. And yeah, that one time the security just wanted me out, and I told him I have the right to be here. He called the cops. The cops didn't even want to talk to me. As soon as I asked for a supervisor, they just arrested me. So they didn't give me the supervisor, which are supposed.
You take up a lawsuit.
Hopefully I win the case. I mean, hopefully, because I mean the courts are fucking crooked too. The judges could be crooked.
You just gotta keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't do nothing wrong.
Exactly.
No reason to arrest you.
There was
just
no.
because you were standing there.
There was no crime.
Nothing wrong.
Exactly.
You made a crime.
Exactly.
You did not. you were not in the process of committing
Right.
a felony. You were not thinking of doing a
Right.
crime. You were just standing with
Exactly. Free speech, freedom of press.
Exactly.
That's what I was doing. But yeah, I actually do go to post offices and stuff, do audits. I actually do audits as well.
Yeah.
So here, I could give you my channel. And here, let me give you these 6 main proofs. These are the 6 main proofs that debunk the globe. You could go check them out in your free time. And here's my channel. And again, I go all over, you know, wherever I can on SoCal right here. And yeah, I do audits as well. I go to universities. That's one of the main places that I like going to.
Yeah.
Challenging the students, you know. But
You
yeah.
gotta challenge them. They're our next.
No, yeah.
They're our next.
They're the next generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
To challenge their beliefs and all that.
Exactly, yeah. Especially when they think they're being taught some like physics and science, right? When it's all just bullshit, you know what I'm saying? So
There's a reason why they make us go to school. Any other shit we use in school, we ain't never gonna use in the streets.
exactly, that's true. People just don't want to admit it. But that's something that I can't, you know, that I realized not that, you know, a few years ago. I was like, wait a minute. If I go back to my high school and all that, I don't have anything that I'm using today, like besides basic English and basic math, which you will learn anyway. Yeah, you're gonna learn it anyways. It's common sense. But yeah, thanks for talking to me, man. All right.
Have a good day, bro.
Yeah, you too. All right. Have a good one. So I want to see if people trust their common sense. That's simple. Do you guys trust your common sense? Right, you should, right? So I have 3 very easy multiple choice questions, elementary level, right? So I want to see if you actually do trust your common sense.
You're about to make me look stupid.
Oh, no. Trust me. Over 99% of people pass, you know, get at least 2 of 3. So the first one's the hardest one, but then they get easier, I promise. So I have 2 images here, and the reason the reason I call them images, because one of them's a photograph and one of them's a painting. So I want to see if people could tell the difference. Which one's a photo? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, get really close.
This one looks like a painting.
Okay, fair enough.
I want to say this one's a painting.
So you think this is a photograph and you think this is a photograph? Yeah? Okay. Oh, it was actually a trick question. They're both paintings. Yeah, they're both paintings. So I don't expect people to get this one, obviously, because it's impossible. I couldn't even get it. But there is 2 reasons why I asked this question. The first reason is just believing someone opens the door to being deceived, right? Because you believe in the ones to photograph, that influences your choice, right? So the second reason is if you want to determine something is real, an image is not good enough. Because if I showed you an image of me walking on water or me flying, would you believe I could do those things? So you believe I could fly if I showed you a picture of me flying?
I wouldn't.
Yeah, it's obvious. Yeah, it's obvious. I would think so too. It's obvious. So these next 2 actually have to do with elementary physics. It has to do with water. So once water is contained, could we agree water always seeks the bottom of the container? In other words, the lowest point? Because I could always, you know, turn the bottle, but water always goes down. Water always goes down, right? That's a fact. So I actually took 2 images, one upside down and one right side up, and I painted the water blue with food coloring to make it easier. But since we understand water always goes down, which one of these 2 is upside down? I'm showing them to you. There you go. Yeah. You agree with her? Since we understand water always goes down, which one is upside down? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you trust your common sense. That's good. So yeah, I took this one like that, upside down. So you got it. Perfect. So this next one,
Really did not mean to like.
this next one. No, it's okay. It's okay. So another thing about water. Have you ever heard of water always finds its level? Right. What would be another word for level if we had to use a different word? Balance or horizontal is actually the proper term or the definition of level. Horizontal, right? So since we understand water always finds its level, which one of these 2 represents level correctly? Water level. A or B? Oh, perfect. You got it quick. You agree with her? Yeah, it's obvious, right? Yeah, there you go. So the real reason I do this is because over 95% of the population, including myself and maybe you guys, have been tricked to believing that this is the answer, even though we know it's this one. You guys want to know how we were tricked? Do you guys believe the Earth is a ball? Yeah, right? That's what they tell us in school, right? So NASA in specific... Yeah, exactly. So NASA in specific, they claim to have satellites orbiting the Earth, so they need to know the radius of orbit, so they need to know the radius of the Earth. So they do tell us it's 3,159 miles, which means there has to be curvature every mile. So in the first mile, there should be an 8-inch drop, second mile, 32 inches. By the third mile, there should be 6 feet of curvature. So if we actually went out in nature, like a giant lake that was miles across, and build a level structure over it to measure for this curvature, we understand that water is going to be level to the level structure. You know, it's going to be parallel. But they're telling us that it's curving 6 feet in 3 miles, but in reality that curvature doesn't exist if we actually went out and measure it. So this would be the number one experiment to debunk the globe, basically. So if I was to ask you guys real quick, what's the number one proof that makes you believe or convinces you that the earth is a sphere?
Honestly, nothing.
Nothing. That's good. Yeah, because it's good. What we were told, right? That's pretty honest. So one of the main proofs people say is images or photographs of the earth from space, right? But I don't know if you guys knew, NASA doesn't call them photographs, they call them images. And the reason they call them images is because they're actually Photoshop. But they don't call them Photoshop, they say composites. So in other words, they literally make it in a computer. So any photograph from the earth from space as a whole doesn't exist. They're all fake, exactly. Especially if that image defies physics, which is water level, you know, that we have to throw away that image. You know what I'm saying? So do you guys have any questions regarding this subject?
No, we were just curious.
Curious, right? Just real quick before you guys go, these are images of the horizon, 20 miles in the sky. In my opinion, 20 miles is the limit human beings have ever gone. So anybody showing you anything higher than 20 miles is just cartoons, CGI, exactly, Hollywood trickery, or the only way you ever see curvature is through CGI or GoPro lenses. Are you guys familiar with the fisheye lens? Yeah, it curves horizontal lines. So a lot of people that fly jets use GoPros and oh, look at the curvature of the earth, but it's just the fucking GoPro. You know what I'm saying? Again, if that curvature is there, we should be able to physically measure for it. But if we actually went and did this, it wouldn't be there.
So you believe that the earth is flat?
Well, I don't believe. I go with physics. I know it's not flat, it's level. Because flat.
I think the earth is a circle.
It could be a circle. Exactly. It could be a circle. But in reality, nobody actually knows the dimensions of this place. Nobody actually knows. So anybody telling you what this place is and what we're supposed to be doing here is just a religion. So the heliocentric model, the ball earth, outer space, that's the biggest religion on earth right now. Because no matter if you're Muslim, if you're Catholic, if you're Christian, everybody believes in the ball earth. So everybody's like in a double religion, especially if you're in one of those religions. You know what I'm saying? So do you guys have any questions before you guys go about this subject?
No, that's fine.
Yeah, so I do have some information because the reason why I'm out here is because this information is being censored. So the way they're censoring it is if you go online on Google or YouTube, you're gonna get nothing but ridiculing videos. So people that are supposedly experts, but they just make fun of it, they won't even take it serious. They especially will never talk about a physical measurement of the earth. They'll completely avoid it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, let me give you some links you could check out. And these are the 6 main proofs that debunk the globe. You guys could check them out. You guys live together, or? Yeah. Okay. Cool. And if you guys want to check out my YouTube as well, I go to universities and I go all over, in public, talk to people about this. Yeah, and you guys could check it out. But yeah, thanks for talking, man. yeah. You guys have a good one. Yeah. You too. Yeah.
Are you here with the Alice experience? Or are you doing
No. I'm doing something else.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
You guys want to give it a shot?
What is it?
So I have 3 very easy elementary level questions, multiple choice, to see if people could get 2 of 3.
Okay.
Want to give it a shot?
Sure.
Yeah, it only takes a couple minutes. Very easy, very
You
fast.
made me look like an idiot.
No.
I'm a teacher,
Overnight.
so-
You're gonna get them. You're gonna get them. So I have 2 images here, and the reason I call them images is because one of them's a photograph and one of them's a painting.
Wow.
So I want to see if people could tell the difference.
Okay, so I'm gonna say the photograph is that one.
Okay, which one do you think?
The photograph?
Photograph. Yeah. Okay. It's actually a trick question. They're both paintings.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So this is an
That's
oil
amazing.
painting, and then this is a digital painting done on an iPad. So I don't expect people to get this one, obviously, because it's
Right.
impossible to tell,
Yeah.
right? But there is 2 reasons why I asked this question. The first
Okay.
reason is if you want to determine something is real, an image is not good enough, right? Because if I showed you an image of me flying or an image of me walking on water, you're not gonna believe I could do those things, right? It's
Right.
obvious. The second reason is just believing someone opens the door to being deceived. Because you believe me that one's a photograph, that influences your choice, right?
Right.
So it's not good to just believe someone, that's my
Right.
point, right? So these next 2 actually have to do with elementary physics. So if you're a teacher, you should get this pretty easy.
No, I'm really
So
nervous. Okay.
could we agree once water's contained like in this bottle, water always seeks its lowest point. In other words, the bottom of the container. So if I turn the bottle upside down, water always goes down.
Right.
So, it doesn't matter what direction, water always goes down.
Right.
That's a simple fact, right? So since we understand that water always goes down, I actually use blue food coloring to make the water, to make it easier to see because it's clear, but so since we understand water always goes down, which one of these 2 is actually upside down? I'm showing them to you.
Which one's upside down?
Which one's upside down? If we understand water always goes down, which one is upside down?
Which picture's upside down, or
Yeah,
which
which-
bottle is upside down?
Which image, which bottle? I did take one of these bottles upside down. So
Okay.
one of these bottles is upside down.
So then in that way.
Yeah, you go.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, because the water can't stick to the top. You
Right,
got it. So you
okay.
do trust your common sense. That's good.
We'll see.
So this last one's even easier. So could we agree? Have you ever heard of the term water finding its level? Water always finds its level, right? What would be another word we could use for level?
Even?
Even or horizontal is actually the proper definition for level.
Okay.
So since we understand that fact about water as well, always finds its level, which one of these two represents that correctly, water level? A or B? It's elementary level. It's very easy.
Okay, well, you're okay, go ahead then.
Yeah, it's
That
this one, right? Yeah, you
right?
guys got it. It's very easy. So the real reason I'm doing this is because over 95% of the population, including myself and maybe you guys, have been tricked to believing that this is the answer, even though we know this is what level means, right? You guys want to know how we were tricked? And this one might hit home. Do you believe the Earth is a ball?
Do I believe the Earth is a ball?
Yeah.
A sphere?
A sphere.
Yes.
Yeah. So NASA in specific, they actually claim to have satellites orbiting the Earth. So they need to know the radius of orbit. So they need to know the radius of the Earth. So they do tell us it's 3,959 miles. So if we multiply the radius times 2, we get the diameter. And if we multiply the diameter times pi, we get the circumference.
Right.
So the circumference of the Earth is 24,901 miles. That's what they tell us. So there needs to be curvature every mile. So the first mile is an 8-inch drop. Second mile is a 32-inch drop. By the third mile, it should be 6 feet of curvature. So if we actually went to a giant lake, and measure for this curvature that was miles across, if we build a level structure over that lake, we understand that water is going to be parallel because water always finds its level, and level means horizontal. But they're trying to tell us that the water's bending in 6 feet in 3 miles. But if we actually went out in reality, this curvature doesn't exist. So in my opinion, this is the #1 experiment to debunk the globe. A physical measurement of water in specific, because if the Earth is truly a ball, then every lake on Earth, even the oceans, are supposed to be bending at that rate, 8 inches per mile squared. So if I was to ask you guys, what's the #1 proof or reason that makes you believe that the Earth is a ball?
Well, I'm a teacher, so
So
that's what I learned in school.
So that's what they taught you, right? That's honest. That's honest. That's pretty honest. So in my opinion, so real quick, so since since you're a teacher, you understand the Pythagorean theorem?
Yes.
A squared plus B squared is, so using the Pythagorean theorem, we could actually measure for this curvature as well, because since they tell us the radius of the Earth, and then we know the distance we're observing, we can r squared, which would be the radius squared, times the length squared, plus the length squared, equals for x. Once we solve for x, we deduct the radius, and that leaves us with the drop. So I actually did this with a calculator, and it's accurate, over 99% accurate in the first 300 miles. So that 8 inches per mile square, it's there even using the Pythagorean theorem. So there's two different calculations for this curvature, basically. So I'm glad you understand the A squared plus B squared. So do you have any?
No, we gotta go.
Okay.
My party's here right now.
Okay.
I was just kind of curious what you were doing, and
can I give you some info? Maybe is this the 6 main proofs? Maybe you could look into them.
I've looked into
okay.
it. I was like, I know what you're gonna do. So.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right.